Hey guys, welcome back to the Virgo Girl channel. Today we're going to be talking about a Jazzman's blues. Before we get into the video, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so this movie that Tyler Perry did, first of all, I just want to say shout out to Tyler Perry. I think he did a great job on this movie. I think Tyler Perry is very talented, and I think he doesn't get enough credit. This man, he basically was homeless, and he is now, I believe, if he's not a billionaire, he's almost a billionaire. He has really done a lot when it comes to, like movies, TV, film. He does it himself too. The one thing that, and when I say he does it all himself, basically the one thing that makes me very proud when I look at his projects, it's like written, produced, and directed by Tyler Perry. Imagine writing, producing, and directing a film. That is a lot of work. And I know a lot of people give him a hard time about certain things like wigs and, just certain things with his productions. But, I personally like him. I think he is a very big inspiration. I love that he is employing a lot of Black actors, keeping them working, and I like Tyler Perry. Okay, period. I like him. Okay, so basically in this particular film, I feel like this is one of his best productions. I loved it. Just looked like the budget was really there. I love the fact that he actually did a great job with making you feel like you were back in those days. The accents I enjoyed. I'm really big on accents because I feel like accents really help you to feel like you're in that particular city or that particular time period or what have you. So I liked the accents. It sounded like old-timey, so I liked that. I also felt like he did a good job with the costumes, the staging, just how everything looked. I was impressed, very impressed. Now the storyline was amazing. That's the main thing that's important as well. The storyline was great. I think it played out well. I think it had a good beginning and ending, and the middle had a lot of substance. So basically it's about it's a love story. And it's this so he touches on the whole passing, like the Black people back in the day who basically had like one drop of Black blood in their body, and they still were considered Black, but they looked white, and they could pass for white. Like the white people didn't know that they were Black because they had such a small amount of Black blood in their body. But back then it didn't matter if you had any type of, Black blood in your body, that's it, you're considered Black. So it touched on that because the woman that he was interested in, that was her story, and her mom. So they both, basically looked, they both could pass for white. So you had that situation going on, and then you had him who was just a Black man. They were very poor, extremely poor. It showed how like the dynamic of his father not really being, he didn't have a good relationship with his father, but he did have a great relationship with his mom. His dad was abusive. I believe his dad was a drinker too or something. He was on something. And so he wasn't the best example, and it just was a lot with that dad. Okay, so I'm not gonna say everything about the dad because that's gonna spoil the whole thing if you haven't seen it. But that dad was something else. The mom was very loving, she really, was there for her children. But, being a woman, it's hard for a woman to tell a man how to be a man, basically. It's difficult for a woman to raise a man by herself, just properly, because she's not a man, basically. So it kind of like, you could kind of like see that, especially with her older son. You could tell he needed that male figure present, and not just any male figure. He needed a strong male figure, and basically even if he had his dad there, I think his ending results probably would have been basically the same, but because of the fact that the dad was kind of like showing him how to be negative. The dad was kind of like, you know, showing him all the negative things to do, as opposed to showing him how to be an upstanding citizen, showing him how to be, you know, a respectable young man. The father didn't necessarily, you know, show him that way. He was kind of like showing him a different way. So it kind of touched on that as well, but it just showed you how it was just hard for the mom, put it like that. Just being a single mom raising men is not something that's easy for a woman, and I feel like I could kind of see that in the you know, just in the sons, and just how their life ended up going. Also with the sons, I could just see that they were needing love. You could just see that they were lacking that love that comes from a father. So it kind of like, you could just see in their behavior and just some of the choices they made where they were kind of missing that element. But you can also see where the mother's love kind of helped them in certain instances, especially the younger one, the main character. All right, so moving right along with the story, the acting. I want to tell you, on the acting, I honestly feel like it was good. I didn't really see any issues. The only thing I saw was the brother okay, so there was one brother, Willie Earl was his name in the movie, and he actually was like an addict. The only thing I can say is he did a decent job playing an addict, but I feel like they should have let him look a little more scruffed up. I think they should have done a little bit better job with making him look worse, you know, because so the guy that played Willie Earl, the brother, he's really good looking. So I think they should have kind of roughed him up a little bit more. Like when it comes to the looks, they should have just made him look a little, I don't know what the word is, like strung out. They should have made him look a little more strung out, because he was like really bad off on drugs. So maybe a little bit more makeup in that area, but still, he did a good job. That's the only thing I would say when it comes to the acting. Aside from that, the acting was good for what it was. There were people on there. There were a lot of actors on there that I hadn't seen before. So I don't know if they were new to acting or just new to me, but I felt like that was amazing to see people who I hadn't seen before acting, and they did a good job. It wasn't like they were poor, they had poor acting skills. So kudos to Tyler Perry for selecting this cast. They did a great job. The plot itself was just something that we've seen before, that we've heard of before, but I think the way he executed it was nice, because it was just kind of, I don't want to say he took a new take on that particular, because to me, all those Southern movies, it's like the same issue, like the KKK coming, the black people can't go to certain places, they're not allowed in here, they're not allowed in there. So, I mean, back then, you know, it was what it was. So basically all of those movies have that same kind of like underlining tone. But I did like his spin on, you know, how things worked out. They showed they were living, I can't remember where they were living, but in Georgia, that's right. They were living like in a small town in Georgia, and then the brothers ended up going to Chicago. But it was funny because even though they went to Chicago, it still touched on like the racism that was there as well, and like how like they couldn't even, it showed that they were, this was really weird to me. Okay, so they were playing, the guy was like singing in the club, and then everyone that was serving the people in the club were black. However, the patrons, you know, the people that were attending the establishment, that were there to enjoy the festivities, they were all white. So black people were not allowed to go and enjoy the entertainment, but they could be the entertainment, and they could also work there like as servers. So that was very bizarre. So it was weird because everything, oh gosh, that's just so bizarre. Like, what a bizarre time. So it's okay for you to perform, but your own people can't come watch you perform. So that was bizarre, but that's just how things were, I guess, in that time. I believe it was like in the 40s, 1940s was when this was, you know, took place. But at any rate, so yeah, they touched on that as well, which that was the first thing that came to my mind. Like when one of his cousin came and said, oh, I can't even go to see you perform, right? And he said, no, they don't allow us in here. So so he's not even allowed in there unless he was performing. And the other people, the other black people that were there, they weren't allowed in there unless they were actually like serving people. So yeah, that was something. I mean, when you really think about that, like how crazy is that? It's like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, but aside from that, it was a good movie. I do highly recommend it. I think Tyler Perry did a good job. I feel like he's leveling up. I like to see the progression, and he did a good job. Now, don't get me wrong, Tyler Perry has had other films in which the production was, you know, was there as well. But I just feel like with this film, the first thing that came to mind is, wow, the production is great. I feel like he's just leveling up, and I'm really proud of him. You know, he has his own production studio down there in Georgia, which is great. I mean, he's just doing good things for himself, so kudos to him. And this was really a great film. And once again, the name of the film is A Jazzman's Blues, and I do highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching the video, and don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.